By now we're on chapter 4, and I wrote chapter 1 in like 2012, so by now it's been like 8 years or something like that, and I've just been adding on to it. Like the story, the idea, I don't really even know if it goes that well together, but it's interesting, and it's a good thing to like measure, I guess, my ability to do something. And so yeah, I hope you guys enjoy whatever this is, and I hope I can put it all together and it sounds pretty cool someday. Chapter 4, Vanish. An empty scene in a concrete sidewalk, and it just kept going. I was walking it for too long. I knew I was missing someone, but it was just a sidewalk to walk, so who was I missing? Come to the river, rang out, but nothing was in sight, so I kept going. Eventually there was a river, and it was a opening from a forest with a tan dress and a single blue feather headband sticking straight up, bent at the knees to taste of the water, and we made eye contact with braided black hair to contrast the yellow and red flowers in the blue of the water, and I walked closer. Without saying anything, I walk up to the center, and she's on my right, and I kneel down to take of the water, and as much as cupable in my hand before drinking, I look over, and we make eye contact again, and she smiles. I fall into the river face first. I've emerged from this would-be paradise, having looked for someone and haven't found one, but then woken into a burning hot ice cold bucket of water thrown in my face in a barn covered in snow, hearing 3 people arguing, some ruffling off further. Why don't we just murk him? Why even take a hostage? He's just a kid. What can we even do with him? In a jumpy voice that one said, and what he said, and a voice replied to him. He came from the direction we're headed now. If you stop running around headless, you would understand that we need some information before we go thoughtless in the fog, and a Reaper squad find us and we get chopped off. I wonder if you even think it all, but now a girl, and she says, look, whatever you do, do it quick. We need to make a decision and get moving. Why did you need to throw a bucket of water in his face? Now he's drowning in his place. Take the blindfold off of him and get this over with. Noises of more fumbling in the background. So a scratchy gloved hand, half tattered, reaches for the now become bandage on my face since they split my brow. Scratchy gloved hand snatches the rag from off my face, half beating my eyes. Took time just to take in a few rays of sunbeam. They put me in a chair in the only part of the barn where the roof broke through, and it shines on me. It would feel amazing if I wasn't in a strange stasis where some strangers are trying to make a next chapter in their arrangements, but the book I read laid it out like this. He told me they would play like this. It wasn't unexpected, so if this was my last moments, I beg in a prayer, Christ Jesus, have mercy on me, a sinner. Now the cold winter wind yet again hits the cheek, but this time with the cut on the brow, the sting of the cold worst wonders. Hurt, I was torn asunder once. A tough time had nothing but an annoyance, and now a tough time is a life spent, memories spent, intentions met, where the invisible barriers of I can't live without them. Yeah, because without them, who am I? I spent all this time to be who I am, built what I am, and then there's the people who built me by being in the story. Yeah, and it too. To say if I went, I wouldn't be much worse. But to know if one wanders across me to see a corpse they had known from a past lifetime long ago, then what wasn't much for me was too much for them. If I had envisioned me dead and it didn't hold weight, but to them it made a change, as to say, if they are gone, then soon it will be me. So if they wind shift, things change these things, and I wrote it on my sleeve. I'm going to live, and when death comes and gets me, then he did his diligence. But until then, the figments of depression get extinguished, because now it's shaking. And these 3 powder puff bullet punks have me tied up, and now we feel the real trouble coming. When you hear the steel mammoth and a stick shaking, faceless savages ready to erase you, not even like it was back then. If it was me or you to the mammoth, food was the common factor that my village needs to eat. So when the tusked fur horn comes, my village will eat, as was all things. Now they come past with no story, just an army. All those people once was and now aren't, so were they ever at all? It's hard to say how a story's written, chapter after chapter, fractions added to fractions to give ample room. This life feels true, but many change to faceless, and story loaded with filler, thrown in with leaving, and it shakes all the harder as they panic with words rambled, not worthy to be recited in all. Close my eyes as the panic ramps up, words turn to tactics, and my frame centers and slows what was the dramatic piano music on top of a clash of actors, on top of a dramatic action play we all happen to be in. The truth to this fiction, tied up to a chair in a barn, defenseless in the cold, unshaken, because if this was where it ends, then this is where it ends. So the 2 guys argue and the woman fumbles the pack. I see out a barn crack the reason of the rumbling. Yeah, it's a heart rate increaser. Into your hands I commend my spirit, Jesus. As it slows down and slows down, I realized I was only roped down to some flimsy, tickle me pink excuse of a chair trying to go against me. So as they fumble and wrestle harder, as the trouble bubbles closer and closer to the brim, this is a critical moment in that all this. I just slipped my hand and the other one slipped out just like it did. My legs are taped, not tied. I checked the left jacket pocket for the pocket knife, quickly unseen. Cut the adhesive in pieces in peace. They barely noticed as I was leaving, hearing the final shock and awe. It seemed like it was a trap from God, when all I really needed was to find rest with even feeling people, but they had to reach on me, and I was told not to return revilings for revilings. Now the scene's a farmyard out the side of the barn, opposite side of the pasture I came up in, where the grinning shadow it crept up. When I thought I passed a distance, they wouldn't catch up, but as it was, so it will be. As in chapters 1 through 5, chapters later, still running from the same thing. In the center of the yard was a broken fountain, and across from that was a house long and short, but there was not time to pretend like this was a home. So I sprint from an open air situation to the tree line once again, to safety, but now in a forest like before. But they took my supplies. I take a glance back, and the words less poetic than it was. It's like the mystery of what's in the forest pulled at my back like a safety chain, slowly bringing me in. As I view a view like an ocean, absolutely in total calamity, the form I just described, I then became the last person to see it with eyes, because that's once where someone lived, if someone else will forget, because now it was just some land. So I turn from the violence against a landscape undeserving. So I turn away from things I can live without seeing into. Maybe someday to tell a story of a nice farm I had been that no one was in, and I walked for literally 2 days and nights. So hopefully when I rest, it will be a better place. Chapter 5. Inevitable. So it seems to me I've been doing a lot of walking, honestly. Where am I even going? I've been awake lately. New hobby, pacing in place, is to keep safety from these things I can't begin to hide from if they even get a glimpse. A lot of times I remember hearing people's problems and I was like, ugh, yada yada yada, but to see the balance when it's all shown from the things that have been hidden of old, and the days turned colder and colder, but it was not winter. I can't remember how we even got to this place, such and such, but I sat where it ended up and we just had fun. Usually lately I've been impatiently or getting itchy to get a move on things because it wasn't as it was anymore. Sitting with your friends with eyes low from raised cheeks, but now I think I've been seeing things plainly, quite clearly. How could I hold fear when I can't get a grip on anything? The last bunch of yahoos, they took my bag, and boy, they didn't need it. But best believe I'd rather leave without eating than to miss out on any more seasons. How many more could we have at this rate? And as a matter of fact, since I don't know what season it is, because the days had been darkened and I stayed inside mainly and tended to lose myself a lot and forgot I had to get back up a few times. I must be musing. I could be walking quicker if I quieted my mind, or am I just tripping to feel alright? But where could I ever be? Where am I even going? The story's motion is motionless, mostly just floating in the fog or snow. Hush, hush, hailstones, we all know what falling feels like. And if you don't, you better get ready to cry, because it's appointed each man once to the death. So I kinda just been, how much life will I get? Is this where it is, Matt? Can I get a grip? Fiction, once you quit, told him, let the truth in. I I don't know if the thoughts in my head hurt me, because I don't think they were listening. Quickly, I've been up all on myself to get moving, so if you don't remember, there was trees around me and I got goosebumps. Could have sworn I saw faces in the fog and shadows trying to hold the narrow path from me, but the light does shine in his glory and the hail pouring, so I looked up and beholding the brilliance of what was like a rainy day all the day, but it was still sunshiny and it was golden when it hit your eyes. As you say, the entire day was golden to me. It became about daily holding the golden day. As you say, my joy is in my own hands perpetually, but as I remember others' complaints and I'd yada yada brush them off as forgotten, now see that joy is more precious once you have felt forgotten. At least it felt like that for me. It felt like grief. I'm 5 chapters in from pain, but I'm already 5 chapters in. So what do I do? And what do I have left to get myself into? What else have I been ordained of old to stand for, to be? Who am I? Even to me, but mainly, who am I to you, God? Thoughts of the cross and the only begotten Son, and today I had begotten thee. He did not promise me no grief, but he did promise in his hand no one would pluck me. So chapters gone and chapters do go. Here we go. It either ends with a body or I just keep walking. Hey, and maybe if I just walk further into this empty scene, it's always been all heavy, easier time spotting the one red dress in a room full of white, and only I was left to color a blank canvas. But yet I have been formed before all that. If I'm going to walk off like this into blankness, I guess I didn't need my supplies either. Yeah.